call the meeting, special board meeting of Independent School District 181 to order. Can we do roll call, Kelly?
Kevin Broyles,
Here.
Michelle Brecken,
I see her.
Michelle Brecken,
Take your thing off mute.
Here.
There you go.
DJ Donnelly,
Here.
Randy Heidman,
Here.
Sarah Spear,
Oh, Sarah's frozen.
Sarah, you're muted.
I think there's a.
There she goes.
Sarah Spear,
Nope. On mute.
Here.
John Ward,
Here.
all present.
Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag.
To the republic for which it stands,
One.
Justice for all.
There has been an amendment to the agenda. Item number 7 has been changed simply to a discussion of the MSBA superintendent search proposal. So I would be looking for motion.
Motion. To approve the agenda as presented, is that what you mean? Or amended?
The amended agenda is presented, yep.
Yep, I motion.
Director Donlinger made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second. Ward.
Second by Director Ward. All of our votes tonight will be done via roll call because we have people that are in remotely. So Kelly, we'll be doing roll call votes tonight.
Okay. Michelle Brecken,
Yes.
DJ Donnelly,
Yes.
Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
Kevin Boyles,
Yes.
I inadvertently skipped over an agenda item. This meeting of the Brainerd School Board is being conducted in accordance with Minnesota statutes 13D.02. This meeting is being recorded. Access to the recording will be made available on the school district's website as soon as reasonably is possible. Due to this being a special meeting, there will be no public input tonight.
Rosie, is that her name? Rosie?
Yes, hang on.
I thought she was a support animal. This
Therapy
doesn't
animal.
seem
She's
very
providing-
supportive.
She's providing some therapy. She's providing levity to the.
How's she voting?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We just said no public input and Rosie had to say something.
So sorry.
The next item on the agenda is to approve the retirement of Superintendent Dr. Heidi Hahn, effective June 28th, 2024, as per her presented in the retirement letter.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Director
Second.
Donlinger makes a motion. Second,
Second.
Director Boyles. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion?
Roll call. Let's go.
Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
DJ Donnelly,
Yes.
Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
Kevin Boyles,
Yes.
Michelle Brecken,
Yes.
all in favor?
Okay. Next item is the amended one. This is the discussion of the Minnesota School Board Association's proposal for selecting and searching for a new superintendent.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Director Boyles?
if I may, we amended this because between when we scheduled this special meeting and now we received a proposal from MSBA that was sent out to all board members prior to the weekend. And since then, either Director Spear or myself has been in contact with each board member. My intent is to make a motion that we accept the proposal and hire MSBA for the superintendent search. So I'll make that motion in just a second. But I want to explain for the benefit of the public, kind of the process that occurred going through this over the course of the last week and a half, or let's say 12 days since Dr. Hahn tendered her resignation formally to the board. Several of us, in fact, most of us have been doing a fair amount of due diligence to look at what next steps are available to us, what vendors were available to conduct a superintendent search. I think one thing that both Director Spear and I were able to go through this process 2 years ago, so we have a little bit of experience in this, although we were not, neither of us were chair or vice chair at that point. So we do have some experience. So anyway, the process was to find out what options were available. One of the options that was available that we used 2 years ago was a firm called School Exec Connect. Based on the experiences that Dr. Hahn, Director Spear, and myself all had with that process 2 years ago, it was a pretty. I was pretty adamant that we should probably use somebody else. So I would say they really weren't seriously considered this time around, as I did my due diligence to share with the rest of the board. MSBA obviously does this and has done this for a long time, which we'll talk about in a second. And those are really the only two that are Minnesota level companies that do that with any regularity. I did reach out to our friends at Partner Ed, who we have been using throughout the strategic partnership, our strategic plan process, and they don't have a formal product or solution for a superintendent search. But in speaking with Paula O'Laughlin at Partner Ed, they do have an appetite for, as part of their ongoing support of ISD 181, to kind of have Paula continue to work directly with the board, sort of in the capacity that she already has been, to kind of coach us, since a lot of us are new to this process. So that was encouraging. And it was in conversations with Partner Ed, with former Superintendent Lane Larson, with other school board members from other districts that I know, observing what's happened in school districts like Hastings and Sartell, then I did some due diligence by looking at some national firms that do superintendent searches. And the reason I come to the conclusion that I'm going to make the motion to hire MSBA is one of the things that we did not like about Exec Connect when they did the superintendent search 2 years ago was they collected resumes from all over the country. They did what they were supposed to do, which was put the posting out there, do some ads and advertising of the open position. And they gathered who knows how many resumes. I really don't remember, but it was north of 20. As part of the way they do business, they only brought forward 6 resumes for the school board to consider as finalists or semifinalists, if you will. From there, we interviewed those 6 virtually, pared it down to 3 finalists, brought those 3 finalists to Brainerd for a more detailed, stringent interview process over really a 3-day period. And at the conclusion of that, we deliberated and elected as a board to offer the position to Dr. Hahn. All of these national firms do the same thing. So my concern with using a firm like that is what they do is they gather resumes from all over the place. They're engaged with multiple school districts all at the same time that have superintendent openings. So my concern is they mix and match applicants and steer them to particular school districts. And we never see potential applicants that we could have interviewed or gone down through a process with. MSBA does not do that. MSBA will send us every resume and application that comes in for ISD 181. And it's my own considered opinion that this hire is so critical, not just because it's the superintendent of schools for a town that we all know and love, but because of the timing in terms of where we are from a fiscal perspective and all the other issues that everybody's already aware of, that we should be looking at every possible applicant that we can be looking at. Sure, we're going to want to use a process and pare that down just like we did, but the idea that we would only see 6 names scares the daylights out of me. So that was a really long way of saying that, Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion that we accept the proposal from MSBA and hire them to conduct the superintendent search. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Boyles. Director Boyles has made a motion to accept MSBA to do the search for our new superintendent. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Director Brecken, second. And Kelly will do a roll call.
Well, we could talk about this one.
Oh, excuse
Is
me,
there further
excuse me. Further discussion that anyone, Sarah, do you have, I know you've put a lot of effort into some things. Do you have any thoughts at all?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Heidman. I did put together a few things, just knowing what MSBA is going to be asking us for, some sort of profile of what we're looking for, as well as, you know, some thoughts on timeline, who will be part of the group that can be liaison with them, and what kinds of expectations we have for them as it relates to the proposal. And so the hope is that this would help us expedite getting the information to MSBA that they're going to need to move forward on this. And so there's probably some work we need to do on this as it relates to a calendar in, you know, conjunction with their calendar, but it gave us a liftoff point, if you will, to move forward. And part of their process, if you'll remember when we walked into the strategic planning process, there was a lot of meetings with community and stakeholders and all kinds of folks to get input on what we wanted as our strategic priorities. We did the same thing heading into the superintendent search 2 years ago. I feel like we're really well positioned with those two profiles of, you know, what we're looking for in a leader and also what we're asking that leader to do for the community, that we could synthesize that work. And so that's part of that document that's put together as well, that we can give MSBA a good sense of what we're looking for and why we're looking for that. So those are those two pieces.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Director Ward.
I, like you did, Mr. Chair, I want to compliment Director Spear and Director Boyles on the work that they've done, especially Director Spear, as she laid out the 5 pages of information for each of the board members. The timeline is great. All the documents that were presented by Director Spear are absolutely wonderful and thorough and informational. And there's just 2 things that I want to kind of direct and say. Number one, in the education world, the longer you wait, the longer we don't come up with a decision, the pool deteriorates quickly. The educational pool deteriorates quickly. The quality deteriorates quickly. So the urgency here, as Director Boyles has said, is critical. And I do like the timeline that we set out with a final selection on April 25th. And so and I want to remind all board members and public that it is urgent that we get this going and get it going as quick as possible. The other thing that I want to raise is we all have a lot of educational connections currently. And so I just want to raise a point of, if somebody wants to directly send in a resume and application to Chair Boyles or to whomever is going to probably, or Director Spear or whoever, rather than go through MSBA, are they allowed to do that? I raised that question.
I say no, but I'm only one person.
I mean, we would likely want to redirect, or, you know, we would pass that probably to MSBA so it could be part of the process, but.
That's what
Yep. I mean, I guess, Director Ward, to answer your question, I mean, we could accept a resume, an application from somebody, but to Director Spear's point, we'd put it over in the MSBA tracks, for a lack of a better way to put it, so that they can go through the screening process that we're going to ask as we do the next step after this meeting, which will be hammering out some consensus around what our profile of a candidate looks like.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes, Director Ward.
so thank you for that answer. And so anybody that gets hold of us individually, we should direct them to Barb Dorn at MSBA then. Is that correct?
I would say that's the best path forward, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's a good thing to bring up, Director Ward. I appreciate you doing that, actually, because I know we have had some folks express interest.
RJ, I got a couple of questions.
Director Donlinger.
We're all directors today. That's the deal. We're gonna really getting up there. Whew. So I don't know how much you guys went through this MSBA proposal, but I guess I have a question. Are we gonna try to do the hiring the right superintendent workshop? I don't think it's a get-together thing. I think it's more of an online deal you fly through. I didn't have time to get a hold of them today. Kevin, Sarah, did you know if I mean, you read it and in one sentence it says, well, if you're starting early November through February, you should do it. And then if you read further down their proposal, I read the whole thing today. It kind of says that things will go a lot faster if we did this. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that deal, for starters.
I guess from my perspective, it was waiting to see if somebody mentioned it like you just did. When I read through the proposal, I mean, it's in there as an add-on, right? It's not part of their actual
It's part of
solution. I think it's an additional cost, like $1,350 or something.
They have another one that's the $1,350. This one is free.
Okay. I think if we have board members that feel that would be valuable, I would be supportive of it. What I don't want to do is, in the interest of speed, accidentally do something hastily without availing ourselves of resources that are available to us. So I would say it's a relevant part of this discussion, because if we have 3 or more board members that really think we should do it, we should probably add that to the motion, or if it's already included with the service, then we just opt in for it. I'm supportive either way.
I suppose we probably need to dig into that just a little bit more. One thing that seems to be a common theme here is that we're in this panic and we've got to get somebody hired and we got to get moving. So I talked to Carrie Tate today, who's on the Hastings board, and their superintendent was about the same timing as we had last year. They went through the full deal with the MSBA. She had nothing but great things to say about the MSBA, which made me feel good. And they did the full package and they had somebody hired by May 1st. So I think it's very doable, but I just want to make sure, I for sure am not just going to jump out of fear. I think this is important and I think we need to make the right decision. So I'm not in quite as big a panic as everyone else is. I know it's a very important deal and I know it's a very tough shoes to fill, but I think that this is our one shot and we need to make sure that we do our homework and are feeling very comfortable as a board with who we do hire. Does the person that we hire have to be licensed? So what if you're coming from out of state?
They would apply for a license within the state.
So they probably have the education. So if you were from, I don't know, whatever, Wisconsin, then the education standards would be the same.
It depends. Some states only require a certificate. Other states will require licensure. So,
Does Minnesota require licensure?
yes.
Okay. And the leadership profile, Sarah, that you put together, which I really appreciate, it's nice of you to get all this done. That's what you guys did last time. So you're just kind of showing us an example of how things go. Because I definitely, if the MSBA is going to do this, if that's the conclusion we come to tonight, then I'd like to go through their full process. I don't think it's that big of a deal from reading their stuff. It's like they send some online stuff out to us. We all kind of put down the things that are important to us and they kind of mush it all together and go, here's your 6 most important things. And that's kind of our new deal. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what you guys did 2 years ago, but it's a new board and a new day and there's different applicants. And I just want to make sure that we all get our chance to be involved. So I don't think it's a big deal. I was just curious. That's what you guys did the last time. So this time it's probably going to be awfully close, but it could be a little bit different. Is that the way? Am I looking at that right?
Yeah, I would say if there are things in there, Director
You just call me
Donlinger,
DJ.
that you wanted to make sure get included, that aren't on that list, that would be an opportunity. My kind of fear in doing that full process was calling in the community and calling in staff, and when we've just gone through that process with them for a strategic plan and year prior to that for a superintendent search. So I feel like we've got a good handle on that. But if there are things in there that you don't see that should be represented from a board standpoint, for sure we should include that.
Well, reading through their deal, they said the same thing that you did as far as it goes with stakeholders or whatever term you want to use, because of all the work that was just done on the strategic plan. It's the same deal. In fact, we're getting a discount for that in their proposal. So that's not what I was talking about, but I mean, they've got an online survey that the public can fill out. It's something we can do, and it sounds like to me, just reading through this deal, it's something that can be handled in a week or a half a week, 3-4 days, and they can get some pretty good information. I mean, all of us, I'm sure, could do it in a day, because we're all gonna know what's going on, but, so good. Well, that makes me happy. I think the MSBA is gonna do, from everyone I've called that's been involved, has had nothing but great things to say about that barb, Kevin, that you said that you really think is important that we have. And, I just heard all good things, so there's where I'm at on the whole deal.
Just to add to DJ's comment about this workshop, I believe it's on page 2 of the proposal, hiring the right superintendent workshop. And the last sentence of that paragraph talks about the fact that that's included in the MSBA searches. So does that mean it's included in the price, or is it a la carte? We'll have to find that out.
It's included in the price. If you go further down in there, you can start to get the a la carte stuff.
Okay.
So background checks, is that something we need to worry about today? Kevin?
No, I think it's part of the process when we get to
That
where we've
stage.
selected people we want to interview. It is important.
I think so.
Again, it's another one of the bones we have to pick with the process. Last time was there was some irregularity around one of the candidates that made it to finalist, and which we should have known about that well before we found out about it. So that's, again, lessons learned. MSBA does, as you can see, those of you that read through the proposal, they supplied a list of every district that they did superintendent searches for. So, they're definitely no strangers to this. And again, like I said, I think they've got a pretty vibrant group of people. So I did forget in my motion, we are gonna, when we go back to MSBA, if we approve this tonight, I would like to go back to them and stipulate that we want Barb Dorn to head up the search. It's us accepting them as the vendor for this is gonna hinge upon her leading that initiative.
Director Boyles, has she agreed to lead the search?
When I spoke with her on the phone, I said these exact same words to her, and she said that it was feasible, that her plate wasn't overly full. I think it'll be a committee of people on her team that do a lot of the legwork. But then when we get to the nitty gritty, as I understand it, she is aware and knows that we want her to be available to, when we get to the, ninth inning on this thing, for sure. But when we go back, if we approve this and go back to her, Dr. Hahn and I'll make sure to articulate that.
Yeah, background checks are a la carte at $395 per person.
Which we wouldn't do that till we got it narrowed down to the finals, but that's another reason that I don't want to go rushing through this. I don't think it's good that we miss something and get ourselves a surprise in 6 months or a year. So I think it's important that we Rome wasn't built in a day, so let's not panic. And I don't think there's any reason why we can't have this done by May 1st. But if things get behind, I personally don't want to feel pressured to be rushed to make a decision that I'm not ready to make. So that's my 2 bits on the deal.
Any other discussion?
Now, just to build on what Director Donnellinger said, I think I've had enough conversations with the other 5 of you that I think we're all in the same boat, that we're we want to expedite the process to give ourselves the best chance to find a great candidate, understanding that if we don't find that great candidate, that we don't just hire somebody to hire somebody. We don't just hire somebody because we've got a shot clock. We hire because it's the best thing for ISD 181. And I know everybody at that board table and virtually is in the same boat mentally.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, Kelly, this will be a roll call vote?
Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
Kevin Boyles,
Yes.
Michelle Brecken,
Yes.
EJ Dondelinger.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that concludes our meeting. Does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Director Ward.
just one comment before we adjourn. And I know we're going to get an opportunity to do this later, but I wanted to just, I think it behooves us to just say to Superintendent Hahn, thank you. And you know, you've got some time with us still, but I just want to acknowledge her service and work to our children, to our parents, to our families, and our community. So thank you, Superintendent Hahn.
Thank you, Director Ward.
Thanks, Director Ward. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Director Donlinger made a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Director Ward seconded. Kelly, we'll do a roll call
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
Kevin Boyles,
Yes.
Michelle Brecken,
Yes.
EJ Dondelinger,
Yes.
Randy Heidman.
vote? Yes. We are adjourned.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, jeez.